Join me today as I take on the ultimate challenge of dreaming as big as Elon Musk. Can we come up with the ideas that push the limits of imagination? I'm talking rockets to Mars big, change the world forever big. Is this guy crazy or brilliant big? You're about to witness my attempt to break through the mental barriers that keep most of us playing small while people like Musk reshape humanity's future. Will I crash and burn or discover something amazing? Let's find out. You know, I've spent years studying success patterns and what separates those who break through financial barriers from those who stay stuck. In my book, Middle Class Mindset Escape Plan, I explored how our mental programming around money and success often holds us back. But today, I want to focus on something even more fundamental, the courage to dream at a scale that terrifies most people. Elon Musk once said, when something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. That mindset is what we're diving in today. By the end of this video, I want you to walk away with the tools to dream bigger than you ever have before and actually take action on those dreams. Let's get started. Before we talk about dreaming big, we need to understand what keeps most people dreaming small. In my experience coaching entrepreneurs and from my own journey, I've found that many of us are trapped in what I call the middle class mindset. This mindset isn't about how much money you make, it's about how you think about possibility and success. It's a mental cage that keeps you playing it safe, settling for mediocrity, and avoiding risks. Let me get personal with you guys for a second. When I was working as a pharmacist, I was making a six-figure income, but I was miserable. I had the good job with a stable career, but something was missing. I was stuck in a cycle of working to buy things I didn't need, to impress people I didn't even like. Sound familiar? I'd come from long shifts at the pharmacy, exhausted, just to stare at all the stuff I'd bought. The big house with a 3-car garage, the yellow Corvette, the boat named Wet Dream. Yeah, I know, not my proudest naming moment. And wonder why I still felt empty inside. The truth is, I had been programmed from childhood to think small. My father often referred to wealthy people as swindlers and taught me that rich people must have taken advantage of others to get where they are. When I wanted a dirt bike as a kid, I was told money doesn't grow on trees. These limiting beliefs shaped how I viewed money and success, and they kept me stuck. But here's what I've learned. The wealthy think differently. They approach problems differently. And most importantly, they dream on a completely different scale. Here's your first action step. Take out your phone right now and write down 3 limiting beliefs about money or success that you heard growing up. Seriously, pause the video and do this. These beliefs are programming your financial decisions without you even realizing it. Now, for each belief, I want you to write a new, empowering alternative. For example, if you wrote rich people are greedy, change it to wealth allows me to be more generous and helpful to others. This simple exercise begins the process of rewiring your monetary imprint gene, a concept I explore deeply in my book. It's the first step toward breaking free from the middle class trap. But what happens when someone completely rejects these limiting beliefs and decides to dream bigger than anyone else? Well, then you might just become Elon Musk. Before we jump in, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more content on unlocking your full potential and achieving your wildest dreams. Let's talk about Elon Musk for a moment. What makes his story so compelling isn't just his success, it's how he got there. Here's something that blew my mind. Did you know that Musk had no formal training in rocket science before starting SpaceX? Or automotive engineering before Tesla? Or solar energy before Solar City? Seriously, the guy who revolutionized space travel never took a single college course in aerospace engineering. The man behind the electric vehicle revolution wasn't an automotive engineer. How crazy is that? What he did have was an insatiable curiosity and willingness to self-educate. When he decided to get into the space industry, he didn't go back to school for aerospace engineering. Instead, he read textbooks, talked to experts, and taught himself the fundamentals. In fact, when asked how he learned to build rockets, Musk simply replied, "I read books. That's it." He devoured everything he could find on rocketry and aerospace. He approached rocket scientists with questions. He hired experts and constantly questioned them to extract their knowledge. This is crucial to understand. You don't need formal credentials to pursue audacious goals. What you need is the willingness to learn and the courage to apply what you learn. Look, I'm not saying credentials are worthless. My pharmacy degree served me well for years, but I didn't need a real estate license or an MBA to build my business. Like Musk, I educated myself through books, mentors, and good old-fashioned trial and error. Here's your second action step. Identify one area where you've been telling yourself, I can't do that because I don't have the right background, degree, certification, yada, yada, yada. Now, find 3 books or online courses on that topic and commit to going through them in the next 30 days. Knowledge is no longer locked behind institutional doors. It's available to anyone willing to seek it out. Musk approaches problems with first principles thinking. Instead of looking at how things have always been done, he breaks problems down to their fundamental truths and builds solutions from there. When everyone said reusable rockets were impossible, he asked, what are the raw materials of a rocket? And why exactly can't they be reused? Let me give you an example of how this works. Traditional rockets were designed to be disposable. Imagine throwing away an entire 747 after a single flight to Europe. That's essentially what the space industry was doing. The conventional wisdom was that's just how it works. But Musk didn't accept this. He calculated that the actual materials in a rocket only account for about 2% of its cost. So if he could figure out how to recover and reuse the rocket, he could slash launch costs dramatically. Everyone said it couldn't be done. But in 2015, SpaceX successfully landed its first orbital rocket booster. Now it's routine. This approach allowed him to see possibilities where others saw only limitations. And that's exactly what dreaming big is all about. Seeing beyond conventional wisdom to what could be possible. You can apply first principles thinking to your own life right now. Instead of accepting that's just how things are done, ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish? And what's the most direct way to get there? Strip away assumptions, traditions, and conventional wisdom. Start from scratch. But I know what you're thinking. That sounds great. But what about the fear? What about all the reasons my brain is telling me I can't do this? Well, let's tackle those head on. So what stops us from dreaming as big as Elon Musk? Let's break down the fears that hold most people back. Fear of failure. What if I try and fail? What if I look foolish? Fear of rejection. What will others think? Will they laugh at my ambitions? Fear of success. What if I actually succeed and can't handle the responsibility? Fear of the unknown. What if I leave my comfort zone and can't find my way back? Raise your hand if you felt at least one of these fears before. And yeah, I'm raising both of mine. These fears are universal. Even Elon Musk feels them. The difference is that he doesn't let them stop him. I remember when I was contemplating leaving my pharmacy career to start my own business. The fear was paralyzing. I had a mortgage, car payments, and a family to support. What if I failed? Let me tell you about the night I almost backed out. I was sitting at my kitchen table at 2 a.m. surrounded by bills and financial projections. My wife found me there, staring at the numbers for the 100th time, trying to convince myself it was too risky. What's really holding you back, she asked. Is it the numbers or is it fear? That question hit me like a ton of bricks. It wasn't the numbers. Those actually looked promising. It was the fear of jumping into the unknown after years of comfortable certainty. But here's what I realized. The biggest risk wasn't failing at my new venture. It was spending 40 more years in a career that didn't fulfill me. Watching my life pass by in a blur of mediocrity and regret. Try this exercise right now. Imagine yourself 20 years in the future if you stay exactly on your current path. How does that feel? Now imagine yourself 20 years in the future if you pursue your biggest dream. Even if you face setbacks along the way. Which future excites you more? Which future would you regret not choosing? When I finally took that leap, I discovered something surprising. Failure wasn't nearly as scary as I'd imagined. In fact, my early failures became my greatest teachers. Each setback gave me valuable information that I could use to adjust my approach. I'll never forget my first real estate investment after I left pharmacy. I overpaid for a property, underestimated renovation costs, and barely broke even after 6 months of stress. Classic rookie mistakes, but you know what? I learned more from that one deal than from reading a dozen books. Musk has experienced spectacular failures, rockets exploding, production delays, public criticism, but he never let those failures define him or his vision. As he famously said, failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. Did you know that SpaceX's first 3 rocket launches failed? The company was nearly bankrupt in 2008. Musk had invested almost all of his PayPal fortune and was down to his last few $1,000,000. He could have given up, but instead, he doubled down. The 4th launch succeeded. NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract, and the rest is history. Here's your 3rd action step. Write down your biggest fear about pursuing your dream. Now ask yourself, what's the worst that could actually happen? Then create a simple contingency plan for that worst case scenario. You'll often find that even the worst case isn't as catastrophic as your fear makes it seem. And having a backup plan reduces the fear significantly. But where do these fears come from in the first place? To understand that, we need to talk about what I call the monetary imprint gene. In my book, I talk about what I call the monetary imprint gene, the beliefs about money and success that were programmed into us during childhood. These beliefs aren't actually genetic, of course, but they might as well be given how deeply they impact our relationship with money and success. When you were growing up, what messages did you receive about wealth and wealthy people? For many of us, these messages weren't positive. We were told things like, money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford it. Rich people are greedy. Money is the root of all evil. Do any of these sound familiar? Well, drop a comment below with the money messages you heard growing up, and I bet we'll see some patterns. Let me share a story that really illustrates how powerful this programming can be. When I was about 10 years old, I asked my dad if we could go look at dirt bikes at the local dealership. His response? There's no sense in looking because we can't afford one, and money doesn't grow on trees. That might seem like a harmless parental response, but think about the programming it created in my young mind. Don't even look at things you want if they seem expensive. Don't dream big. Stay in your financial lane. Years later, when I became a parent myself, I caught myself saying those exact same words to my own sons. That's how deeply these patterns get embedded. We pass them on without even realizing it. These early messages create a subconscious ceiling on what we believe is possible for ourselves. They limit how big we allow ourselves to dream. I call it the inherited poverty mindset. And breaking free from it is essential if you want to achieve extraordinary success. Elon Musk seems to have escaped this program. He doesn't see wealth as something to apologize for, but as a tool to create the future he envisions. He's not afraid to think on a planetary or even interplanetary scale. Did you know that Musk grew up in South Africa with a father who was an engineer, pilot, and property developer? While his parents divorced when he was young and his relationship with his father was complicated, he was exposed to entrepreneurship and engineering from an early age. His monetary imprint was different from many of ours. But here's the good news. No matter what financial programming you receive, you can rewrite it. I'm living proof of this transformation. When I transformed my relationship with money, my financial circumstances changed dramatically. Within 14 months of starting my daily money affirmations, I went from struggling financially to earning over $100,000 per month. Here's your 4th action step. Look into the mirror every morning and say out loud, I choose my thoughts about money regardless of what I was taught. And I attract wealth and prosperity everywhere I go. Do this for 30 days straight and watch how your relationship with money begins to shift. To dream as big as Musk, we need to first identify and then rewrite our limiting beliefs about money and success. We need to recognize that these beliefs aren't facts, they're just stories we've been told, and we have the power to tell ourselves new stories. But changing our beliefs is just the first step. To truly break free from the middle-class mindset, we need to change how we think about time, resources, and opportunity cost. Let me show you what I mean. One concept I explore deeply in my book is the idea that to achieve financial freedom, you need to think differently about time and resources. The middle class tends to save money by doing things themselves. Change your own oil, mow your own lawn, fix your own plumbing. Sound familiar? But this approach fails to account for opportunity cost, the value of what you could be doing with that time instead. Let me ask you something. Have you ever spent hours trying to fix something yourself only to end up frustrated, covered in sweat, and eventually calling a professional anyway? Been there, done that. I'll never forget when I spent an entire day installing carpet in one of my rental properties to save $250 in labor costs. Picture this, me on my hands and knees, sweating bullets, struggling with carpet stretchers and tack strips, trying to figure out how to make everything lay flat. Pure misery. Later, I calculated that I spent 8 hours on a task that would have taken professionals 3 hours, all while canceling a business meeting that would have generated thousands of dollars in new revenue. Talk about penny wise and pound foolish. The wealthy understand that their time is their most valuable asset. They focus on leveraging their unique skills and delegating everything else. Here's a quick formula I want you to remember. If you can hire someone to do a task for less than your hourly value, always hire it out. But what's your hourly value? It's not just what you earn at your job. It's what you could earn if you focused on your highest value activities. For me, that business meeting I canceled to install carpet could have generated more than $5,000 in new business. That means my effective hourly rate that day could have been over $600 per hour. And I traded it for $250 worth of savings. That's middle class thinking in a nutshell. Musk exemplifies this principle on a massive scale. He doesn't try to do everything himself at his companies. He hires brilliant people, delegates effectively, and focuses his energy on the visionary aspects of his businesses that only he can provide. Think about it. Musk is simultaneously running Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, the Boring Company, and more. That would be physically impossible if he tried to micromanage everything. Instead, he focuses on the big picture vision and strategic decisions while empowering his teams to handle the details. Here's your fifth action step. Make a list of everything you do in a typical week. Now, circle the 3 activities that create the most value in your life or business. Next, put an X through everything that someone else could do for you. Your goal should be to maximize the circled activities and minimize or delegate the X activities. This shift in thinking is essential for wealth creation. It's not about being lazy. It's about being strategic with your most precious resource, your time and energy. To dream as big as Musk, we need to stop thinking like employees and start thinking like entrepreneurs. We need to value our time appropriately and invest it where it will generate the greatest returns. But how do you develop the knowledge and skills needed to maximize those returns? That's where the power of self-education comes in. One of the most inspiring aspects of Elon Musk's story is his commitment to self-education. He's famous for reading 2 books a day when he was younger across physics, engineering, business, artificial intelligence, and more. 2 books a day? Can you imagine? While most of us were watching TV or playing video games, Musk was absorbing knowledge like a sponge. When asked how he learned to build rockets, his answer was simple: I read books. This reminds me of one of my favorite action steps I share with coaching clients. Read, damn it, read. Knowledge truly is power. And in today's world, we have unprecedented access to information. Let me confess something to you all. When I graduated from pharmacy school in 1998, I swore I would never pick up another book. Can you believe that? I was so burned out from textbooks that I thought I was done learning forever. And look where that mindset got me. Stuck in a career that wasn't fulfilling, living paycheck to paycheck despite a 6-figure income. Everything changed when I picked up my first self-development book. It was like someone turned on a light in a dark room. I started with Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, which completely transformed how I thought about assets and liabilities. Then I moved on to The Millionaire Fast Lane by M.J. DeMarco and The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. When I decided to learn about real estate investing, I didn't go back to school for a degree. I read books by Robert Kiyosaki and other experts. I attended seminars, listened to podcasts, and connected with mentors. This self-directed education gave me the knowledge I needed to build a successful real estate portfolio. And you know what's funny? I spent over $150,000 on my pharmacy education, but the books that truly changed my financial life cost me less than $100 total. That's less than the cost of a single textbook. Musk follows a similar approach. When he wanted to understand rockets, he read textbooks on rocket science and aerospace engineering. When he wanted to understand electric vehicles, he studied battery technology and automotive design. Now, here's your 6th action step. Commit to reading or listening to 1 non-fictional book every 2 weeks for the next year. That's 26 books that can completely transform your mindset and skills. Start with books about mindset, then move to books specific to your field or dream. If you need recommendations, drop a comment below and I'll share some of my favorites. Now, if you're thinking, I don't have time to read, let me challenge that. The average American watches over 3 hours of TV per day. Just reallocating 1 of those hours to reading would give you 365 hours of learning per year. That's equivalent to 9 40-hour work weeks of education. The difference between those who achieve extraordinary success and those who don't often comes down to this willingness to self-educate. In the internet age, ignorance is a choice. Whatever you want to learn is available to you, often for free. But here's the $1,000,000 question. With all this knowledge at your fingertips, what will drive you to actually use it? What will pull you through the inevitable challenges when motivation fades and obstacles seem insurmountable? That's where you need to discover your ultimate rocket fuel. The final piece of dreaming big like Elon Musk is finding your compelling why. Elon's ventures aren't random. They're connected by his desire to ensure the long-term survival of humanity. SpaceX aims to make humans a multi-planetary species. Tesla aims to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Neuralink aims to enhance human capabilities in the age of AI. Each of these ventures is driven by a purpose bigger than profit. As Musk says, going from PayPal, I thought, what are some of the other problems that are likely to most affect the future of humanity? Not from the perspective of what's the best way to make money. In my own journey, I found my compelling why when thinking about my son Tyler, who we call Lolo, and his needs due to his rare syndrome. My wife and I worried about who would take care of him when we were gone. And this drove me to build businesses that could provide long-term security for my family. Your why doesn't have to be saving humanity or even providing for a family member with special needs. But it does need to be compelling enough to pull you through the inevitable challenges and setbacks you'll face. Without a strong why, your dreams will remain just that, dreams. So there you have it, how to dare to dream big like Elon Musk. Remember, identify and rewrite your limiting beliefs. Adopt a first principles thinking approach. Don't let fear of failure hold you back. Value your time and focus on leverage. Commit to continuous self-education and find your compelling why. As I share in my book, it's all about the journey. The path to realizing your biggest dreams won't be easy, but it will be worth it. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content on achieving financial freedom, and share your biggest dream in the comments below. I read every comment and I would love to hear what audacious goals you're pursuing. And check out this video that YouTube thinks you'll like. And until next time, remember, think wealthy, be wealthy.